Hey, how's it going, guys? It's been a minute, and I guess I wanted to just process and share with you guys what I've been up to these past few months, and I guess kind of get it out. I guess I don't know. Um, yeah, I've tried to do this a few times, and I feel like I'm out of practice. I'm nervous again, and but I really want to do it, so I'm doing it. So fuck it. Uh, so basically, what's been going on with me is that I finally started working again, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm really excited. And I've been a lot busier because of that, and trying to shift into balancing my practice and working on keeping my mental health where I've worked so hard to get it that made me able to go work. And so now I'm doing it, and it's been 2 months working. Not at the same place, but I'll get to that in a minute. Um, so 2 months working, and now it's getting to the point where, okay, I've really got to make sure I'm working on, this, and this still that I worked so hard, since I don't know when. I mean, I've been working on all this for years. Working on my keeping myself, trying to be more stable, trying to work on my mental health and my spirituality and just myself in general, and getting back out in the world, and working on managing social anxiety has been really hard, and now I'm out there, and I'm doing it, and I guess I wanted to update and I wanted to get it out. Um, So basically, what's been going on is I came into 2017 with the um the main goal to quit living the same year over and over again, because that's what I was doing. I feel like it, but I mean, I'm seeing now. Really, I've been going through so much progress that a lot I seeing it this way has helped me, okay, and helped me not feel so bad about not working for so long and being home with Chloe, and my phases of depression, like not even leaving the house, not doing anything, and just trying to juggle like the bare minimum. I have to admit that for a while it was bare minimum from me, and but it was still me trying to do my best. So I've tried medications, I've tried doctors every time I go and get a doctor, and never really works out too well for me. It's never really the best experience, and I have a hard time finding a good facility to go to, um, and finding a good doctor. So after that didn't work out for me last year, I got really determined um, to figure out why none of this stuff has worked for me, but why does it feel so hard? At the same time, like maybe well, you know what? I'm gonna stop there because this topic could get dangerous. I just want to say I'm not telling anybody that has been in that boat to give up, on medical, finding like professional help, because because it's not like I've always felt in the back of my head, once I feel comfortable enough to go back out there again and look for like a counselor, a therapist, or even a coach or somebody, once I feel like I found the right fit, or I can afford it, which I've been working on, um that day will come. But right now there's a lot that I need to do on my own. I've had to show myself that I'm stronger than I thought I was, and by going into all these situations that didn't work, I had to find out what didn't work for me. And I'm still trying to figure out what will work, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Um, so I went into this year planning with the plan that I would not live the same year again. which is what I've been doing. 2 years went by in the blink of an eye since the flood, and then, the year before that with Wyatt, a couple years before that having my first kid, a year before that running away to Florida, you know. And then months before that, I mean, there was lots of loss and lots of change. That I think that I needed the 5 years of being a stay-at-home mom. Well, almost 6, but I needed those years to be like, okay, whoa, let's process this. Let's have a chance to slow down. You don't need society right now. Well, okay, I'm not gonna start analyzing that sentence because that'll get into a whole other thing. I gotta keep myself on track. I'm terrible. Anyway, I needed to be that hermit, for that period of time. And so February came. I'm pissed off and I'm fed up with everything, and I'm sick of being broke, and I'm sick of everything being the same all the time, and I'm like, okay, either I need to make this amount of money transcribing from home, because I do a little bit of that, or I need to go get a job. This isn't cutting it. I started doing a bunch of applications everywhere, and trying to type. My hands are killing me. I mean, it's intriguing work for me. I feel like I learned a lot, and I really don't mind. I would love to have some sort of work where I'm, like job where I'm like at the computer, like part of what I really want to do. But that's gonna come later. Uh, anyway, one day, it's the end of February, and a friend of mine, we go into like a restaurant, and we're like, hey, I said, hey, I saw your sign, you're hiring, what shift do you need? They say mornings, and I'm like, that's perfect. I would love to be able to work when my daughter's in school, because my first initial anxiety thing with working is being away from Chloe and her being with somebody else and not being safe. I had a really hard time with that. But I'm also not going to get into fully, like, why either. But I was really nervous about that. And they said, well, he'll work with you. What time would you want to be getting off? If you were to work mornings, well, my daughter gets off the bus at this time. This is what would work better for me. She said, definitely, that's exactly what we need. So I got that job. I was there for about a month. Towards the end of that, I'm finding the beauty in it. I've worked through my anxiety. I figured out the root of where it comes from. It's not doing the thing, because I crave the different experiences. I love talking to different people. I love connecting with people. I love learning new stuff, but I'm afraid of the act of learning, of not getting it, of that moment right before. It's the moment right before. It's like anticipation anxiety. That's where most of my anxiety comes from, because once I do it and I'm good, it's fine. I'm okay. And it's not even just, it is social anxiety, is, where most of it comes from. Where the worst part, is, but even I never really felt fully comfortable saying that either, because when I get to know someone and I feel like I can click with them and I feel safe with them and stuff. I guess it is. This is probably really common as I'm saying it, but fuck my train of thought. Well, basically, I'm told once I get into talking with somebody and I get to talking about stuff, you wouldn't guess that I get anxious socially, or whatever. So when people do meet me and I'm quiet, like at the beginning of a job and stuff, they don't know whether they should like me or not. And that was also another thing I had to get over, was people not liking me. So what? So I had those lessons. So now that I'm thinking about it, I had those lessons. That was one major one that I had to get through over the past year. That was like a theme. for me. Like, things keep popping up, and I'm like, it doesn't matter what they think, you know. And then I had situations that showed me, hey, you got over this. In the past, if somebody would have called you fat, you wouldn't have laughed. You would have cried. You would have felt miserable and fat for days. And you would have ate a bunch of shit. Now somebody says something like that, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I know. You know, I made a joke at work the other day. I was at one point of the store, and the girl was talking to me, and I went to another part of the store, and she had moved, and she didn't expect that I was right behind her, and I snuck up right behind her and scared the shit out of her, and I said, "Yeah, I know I'm fat, but I'm quick." And I forget exactly how I said it. Well, I'm big, but I'm really quick. Okay. And she busts out laughing, and she's like, "You're not even that big." I said, "I'm not even offended by my own comment. I'm just saying, you know, I wouldn't have been able to say shit like that years ago. I mean, I have some issues with it, but I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I'm not, or be ashamed or afraid to talk about it the way I was. I've been in the process of losing weight since January, since I started this kick of making this year different. I've lost almost 50 pounds. Because I got addicted to feeling better, and I got addicted to accomplishing goals and feeling good about myself. So that's also where the job came from. The each day that I survived at the restaurant job, I felt more and more confident about myself. So then I started to realize I could do something else. This is working. Wonder what else I could make work. Um so then I did a shit ton of applications that day and spoke with my husband, and I was like, "Hey, what about your company?" He works at a gas station. "What about your company? What about that location over here? This other location, because we wouldn't be able to work in the same store together." And I'm like, "Doesn't she need help? Because we always have liked that location. It's always clean. We like the people that work there. We like the store manager there." And he's like, "You know what? She really needs people. Put your application in, and we'll see what we can do." So, had my interviews, had my class, exactly a month after working at the first job that started giving me only 1 day a week. Okay, because I went into this thinking, if I'm not going to get very many hours at the first job, and they're going to let me work while Chloe's in school, and this other job was going to be third shift, but it's not third shift anymore, I can so do that. You know, I figured out how I would get my sleep in and how I would handle that, and I'm like, I could so do that, and I would never have to worry about Chloe. But then, you know, once it's all said and done, my boss calls me, and she's like, "Look, I just had somebody put in their 2 weeks. Do you want second shift? Do you want to work 3 to 10? It'll be full time instead of just a couple days a week." And that pretty much sold me, because I really want my own car. I really want to be able to provide more for Chloe. I really want to have a savings and not live paycheck to paycheck anymore. And I wanted both of us, I wanted to double our income. And I thought about it, and, you know, I was like, well, I wouldn't see Chloe as much, but I would always have John there to stay with Chloe. And that was hard, because it's always been me and Chloe. And even when John's around, it's always me and Chloe. If I go do something without her, it's not for very long. It's always me and Chloe. And I know that I have an attachment problem. I know. But what I do want people to understand is I have taught her to be fairly independent. I mean, she's doing her own thing right now. I mean, she's home. She's doing her own thing. Um, but we don't do that all the time. But, you know, it's just, I know I have to work on my trust, you know, and my letting her spread her wings, and letting John spread his daddy wings, because you know, maybe I had to give up a sense of control so that he could be home with her, and me know that it's okay. I mean, that's dad. It should be fine. But I'm not going to fully get into that either. Um, so I said yes. I took the shift. Um, I've been doing it for a month now. And I gotta say, I understand my husband so much better now. People can be mean. I mean, I've worked customer service. That's been, basically what I've done anytime I have worked. I was a cashier at Walmart for 2 years, 1 year in Illinois and 1 year in Florida. And I can get over the people. But recently I had to admit to my husband, like, he pulled it out of me one day, like, and he doesn't normally, like, talk energy and shit, but he kept trying to have a good day with me, and I think we actually had a day off together, but I was so exhausted that day because I didn't sleep well the night before for getting off work. It was a really bad night. Well, it was a hard night. But most nights are actually kind of fun and the time goes by really quick and most people are pretty cool. But this day in particular, and I didn't really know that I was feeling that way. I don't know if you know what I mean. Like, I knew that I felt drained. I knew I was tired. I was moving a little bit slower. Um, I was still laughing at the jokes and trying to have fun and stuff. But he pulls me into the back room, like, sort of towards the end of the day, and he's like, I can just feel the negativity just falling off of you. It's just everywhere. You're surrounded by it. What is going on? And I'm like, no, nothing. I'm fine. And he's like, I can feel it. It is leaking off of you. It just feels really negative and really just bad right now. And then, as soon as he said that, I was like, well, maybe I've been lying. And he looks at me like, about what? And I'm like, no, I keep saying that I don't care about what the people are, the ridiculous people, but it's getting to me more than I am admitting. And then I just started fucking crying. And, I keep saying, fake it until you make it. I'm going to pretend I'm more confident than I really am. And it's gotten me this far. I mean, it helped me with the first job. And it helped me. Okay, thank you. It got me this far. So I'm just going to keep trying to fake it until I make it. And then it wasn't clicking. And after a couple months, it got me started. But now I'm just like, we started talking. And this was like a really like a key conversation between me and him. Like, I started talking and I'm like, the problem is I might be trying to fake my confidence in myself and in my abilities until I make it. But now I'm to the point where that make it part, I have to believe it. I have to feel confident that I can do this job and somewhat. If I'm not fully feeling it, okay, I'm going to act like I'm feeling it, but I still kind of got to believe I deserve to feel good about my work and what I'm doing. Like, even though I've gotten major compliments from my boss, you did great in the coolers, people love you, you've got great customer service, one of my other assistant managers, you're catching on way quicker than most people I've trained. You don't even realize. And I'm like, I don't believe it. Excuse me. I feel like they're just trying to make me feel better. And then I've had to have, like, the hard ass tell me, dude, it looks really good in here, and you nailed that rush, and things like that, and I still don't believe it. The one thing I do believe, though, that I was just told the other day was, you have to stop apologizing so much, especially to these customers from my boss. You're being too nice. My boss. You're too nice. So I'm trying to learn how to be a little bit more assertive. Maybe, I said this the other day, but then I didn't know if I should. I want to be just enough bitch, but I don't want to lose myself. Like, I gotta be able to hold it down and tell people, look, get out of my fucking store if you're gonna act like that. I had one guy poke me on the head and say, are you fucking stupid? Because I couldn't see through, around the corner, through the wall, to see what pump he was on because he didn't know what pump he was on. And then he got mad at me because he's like, I have a white car, I don't have a fucking red car. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, I do have a new car. It is red. Like, do not touch me and do not get mad at me because you were stupid. You know, like, anyway, I'm so sorry. It's been interesting though, and it's been fun, and everything that I learned that was hard at first, and I get it down, I feel really proud of that, and then I'm able to move on to the next thing. Um, so it's believing it. It's a great concept for me to get started with stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm not really feeling this. Okay, you know what? You got to go do it anyway. You've got to be at work. They're expecting you. So just fake it. So just act like you got this, or people are going to take advantage of you, and then go from there. A couple of times it got me in trouble because it was really hard. Like, I had one lady mess with me and try to confuse me on Lotto. She does this to all the new people to try to get money out of them. And that night taught me a lesson. As soon as I walked out the door, I was crying until I got home, and then I got in bed with John, and I just laid there and I cried for an hour because that night was so hard. And then on top of that, at the end of the night, the lady comes in and just, I'm not even gonna get into that. But the point is, this is what's been going on with me. I'm doing things that I would not have been able to do a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'm losing weight. I'm making better choices. Well, mostly. Um, I still can give up cheese. And I'm trying to go by the concept, don't do anything that's going to make you feel bad about yourself, because you're awesome and it's okay to feel that way. That's another part of the confidence, is feeling like people, it doesn't matter whether or not people like me or don't, but just remember the people that you have touched, the people that you have helped, the people that were so glad to have met you because you were able to make an impact in their life and you were able to help them. And so I've kind of brought that into my customer service. There's some people that can't talk to anybody else. They don't really have anybody to talk to, and somehow, they go in, they buy something, and they end up pouring their soul out to their cashier. And it's like, thank you, because I needed a stranger to talk to. I just needed like 5 minutes just to let this out, because I had a bad day and I needed somebody to listen. Um, and people don't realize how much people that work at gas stations really do, unless if they worked at one. So, there's a little bit of that. It's not just standing behind a counter and checking people out. I'm not just stocking cigarettes. I'm not just twiddling my thumbs and sitting on a chair waiting for the next customer to come in. There's things to clean. There's a lot of organization to do. There's a lot of math involved. There's a lot of safety shit you have to know what to do if somebody spills a bunch of gas, and there's a bunch of, there's just so many different things. And those all really sound really, like, they might sound like common sense or really basic, but there's a lot of stuff I didn't realize. Like, beyond that, like, I probably shouldn't talk about, like, like giving it all out, but, and there's a lot of trust that they put in you, because a lot of nights I'm by myself for like half of my shift, if, someone doesn't leave early, but yeah, so this is getting long. But this is what I've been up to, and I want to update a little bit more about it later. I want to talk a little bit more about my experiences with people that have come in, and some of the people that I've helped and that have helped me. I'm amazed by the types of people. Like, in my area, there's a lot of people. I don't know. I feel like I've been very judgmental, but I'm really surprised by some of the people that have come in. Because I'm in a bit of a rural. I've never been good at that word. Like, kind of country, like small town area. I do. Thank you. I'm coming right out. I'm gonna be right out. So I've just been surprised by like how eclectic this town really is. But it's in a good location, and I'm enjoying second shift more than I thought I would. I'm enjoying, John having more time with Chloe and having these like daddy play dates with one of the other kids on the street. Like, the dads sit outside in the yard and they like shoot the shit and talk and whatnot, and then like Chloe and um, the other dad's little boy, they play outside and do their thing, like stuff that I had a hard time doing because I'm such a hermit and I have a hard time making friends with my neighbors because I don't know, childhood experiences with my dad. So I just try, like, it's just a rule of thumb, don't get too close to your neighbors just because of what my dad went through, but I'm not him, and I know that not everybody is like the neighbors that we used to have, but um, I just have a really hard time going outside if I'm going to be out in my yard. That's really sad. I shouldn't be like that. But I'm working on it, and John is surprisingly helping me with that. Like, I've been doing what he's been doing for like the past 6 years, and he's doing what I've been doing, for so long, and I never really give him a chance to step in and do things himself. So now he's got that, and I come home like he started doing this, and like it completely surprised me. This is like stuff that's really not like him. Um, but he would have like he's been putting dinner on a plate for me in the fridge, and so all I have to do is heat it up when I come home. Um, and just little things like that. I never used to hear things from him like "I'm proud of you," so that's really cool. Um, so we've been able to find some middle ground, which has been nice, and talk to each other. And every night before I go into work, he tells me to have fun. Like, don't take anybody's shit, but please have fun with it. And that's one of the things that actually has helped me. Because he's my husband, he's been the trigger of a lot of my anxiety. So him helping with some of my anxiety has been, I don't know, kind of, I guess, cool. Um, it's like have fun with it. Sometimes people come in and they're like, "Hey, can I please have $10 on five?" And I'm like, "Okay, that'll be 15." And they're like, "What?" I said $10. I'm like, "Yeah, 10 for the gas and 5 for me." Or, "Hey, can I please get some gas?" "No, we're out. We don't sell that here." Someone comes up, they're looking for some chew, and they're like, "Oh, do you have Copenhagen winter?" "Oh, shit. Nope, we don't have any of that back here. I'm sorry. We don't give those away." Just stuff like that. One more funny thing, and I gotta go. I've got food that's probably burning right now. Um, but this one was really great. So this guy comes up and he has a really thick like Spanish or you know whatever accent, and I can hardly understand him. And he's trying to ask me for some Marlboro cigarettes, and he starts pointing, and I'm like, okay. And I get him the smokes, and I come up to the counter, and I'm like, will that be all for you? Completely straight up, like, I don't know how to, just sounded completely American, right? "No, that'll be all, thank you." Completely, like, straight face and everything, and I was like, what just happened? You're messing with me? And he busted out laughing, and I said, that's not nice. And, because he knew I was new, and he knew that I was like, oh, God, it was so mean. But now he comes in and and we chat and shit, and it's pretty cool. Like, and the police officers are really funny too. I've noticed. I still kind of chuckle though because every time they come up and they got like their coffee and their bag of donuts, I just laugh a little bit because I don't know, I'm terrible. But anyway, yeah. So that's what's been up with me, and I'm trying to integrate a balance into like working and the stuff that I was doing before, not getting drained with it, and not letting things get to me, and doing all of that stuff. So, yeah, I guess that's all. A half an hour, I didn't even expect it, but you guys have fun, and I'll have more stuff coming soon, I guess.